Welcome again with another talk about relationships. Today we'll be talking, we're going to continue talking about relationships. We're going to be focusing mainly on what could go wrong, what could cause relationships to have issues or to have challenges or to have discussions and so forth. So please go ahead and be active, and you can send your questions or comments on chat. We have a few people here at the center attending, so I would like to welcome everybody to the talk. So I'm going to start with asking the question, what could go wrong in a relationship? So you have last talk we talked about the stages of relationships. So now we're going to talk about what challenges a relationship, what causes a relationship to face issues. Any thoughts? Cheating. So can we say like commitment, or what's the word? What's the positive word for cheating?
Not enough attachment.
Faithfulness, being faithful to the relationship, committed to the relationship. All right. So when the faithfulness to the relationship is shaken or starts to reduce, that can be an area that could cause challenges. Good. Okay. What else? Miscommunication. So miscommunication is one of the things that a lot of people are not aware that they're doing. Every couple I spoke to, whether they are going to therapy or not, whether they are in a good relation or in a good relationship or not, they're very likely to feel like they have good communication skills. And in most of the cases, actually, if you really try to probe on the communication skills that they have, it's not there. But this is why this talk is here, is really to explore what's a good communication and what's not. We can explore that in future talks. Okay, any other thoughts? Betrayal. Yeah, betraying, in a sense, like an example of betrayal, like what? So also relating to not being faithful, not being loyal, the loyalty, the faithfulness is impacted or is being reduced. What are other things? Respect. Yeah, when there is no respect, when a person is not respecting his or her partner, it's very likely to impact their relationship. Very good. Keep it coming. You guys are doing really good. I'm sorry? Culture differences. Culture differences is very common in multicultural families. That's one of the things that can be quite challenging, and it can really end a marriage or end any relationship, whether it's friendship or whatever. It can definitely end it. What else? Lack of understanding. Lack of understanding from what? About what?
Like not trying to put effort to understand each other's feelings, emotions, and thoughts.
Not putting efforts, is that what you said? Not putting efforts to understand the other person's feelings and thoughts. All right, very good. So that's comes with understanding, and understanding can be resolved by proper communication. Good. What are the things that can impact the relationship? Different goals. Very good. Now you're really getting closer and closer. Very good. Yeah, different goals, different future, and that also come along to not having a common or unified dream to aim for. So not dreaming together. So each one having their own dreams. One wants to grow in their job, regardless where the job is taking them, and wants to focus on growing, stability in their current home. And I've seen that happen many times. She was promoted, went to Japan, and he built his life to be in the town that they were in, and the family had to break. They were not dreaming together. Very good. Okay. Any other things? Please continue. Some kind of family resistance, objection of their relationship. So that can be relating to culture. It can be also relating to the relationship with the parents. That is the nature of that relationship, if it's a healthy relationship or not, as well. So that can impact the health of the relationship of a couple. Very good. Taking the other partner for granted. Very good. Very good. You guys ran out? Anyone from online? Do we have? Oh, we don't have. We had 3 people earlier. Okay, no problem. You guys ran out? Okay, let me add and share with you the more stuff. Just making a little comment on the chat. All right, so one of the things that can severely impact any relationship is that when there is a conflict, resolving the conflict starts in a very intense way. To discuss a difference of opinions, or discuss a difference in understanding, or difference in goals or dreams. That start is quite harsh, quite destructively confrontational. So that start, that negative, harsh, insensitive start, can cause whatever you're trying to fix gets even worse. And the more we do that, the more the relationship is in danger. So, for example, a harsh, a difficult or inappropriate way to start a conflict is by criticizing it. Starting by criticizing. Or starting by being sarcastic. Some people didn't know what the word sarcastic means. But sarcasm is basically saying something you don't mean. Well, actually, you mean the opposite. Like saying thank you for being so rude. Are you really thanking the person for being so rude? No, you're really ridiculing the fact that he was rude or she was rude, and you're just doing it as a sarcasm way. Sarcasm, criticism is not the way to start any conflict. And the more, so where do we learn this from? We learn it from family, culture, movies. We see it as cute in the movie, and so we do it. But the spouse is not going to respond like that. Stars do. The stars, they have a script. They cannot go along with it. They don't have emotions, or their emotions are fake. So they really are giving you an unrealistic response to being sarcastic or being criticizing. So, but when you're doing exactly what the movies do, the response or the drama, the series or whatever, the response is totally different because this person doesn't have a script. There is no director behind the scenes to tell them, and you're not expecting, so realistically is very disappointing for many people. So what happens is like, well, why are you reacting that way? I saw it. I mean, this is totally normal. I saw it like this on TV, on this, my family. So therefore, the disconnect is quite, the problem becomes even bigger, and this continues to build more obstacles in the path of the relationship. Another thing is, so when the criticism happens, what do you expect the other person is gonna say? How would you expect the spouse to how do you expect the other spouse to respond when they're being criticized? They're going to be defensive. They're going to defend their position. They get insulted, so therefore they be defensive. They don't want to feel insulted, so they become defensive, so to push the insult away from them. So that defensiveness with the criticism, they clash, and the criticizing person, why are you being so defensive? It's like, wow, why are you criticizing? So it goes nowhere. Actually, it gets a lot worse. So criticism, and also sometimes even the person is not being criticizing. If they open up and they say, we just want to talk about that, and they get defensive. So even defensive by itself can be lethal to the relationship. Because the idea of conflicts, being mindful about what's the purpose, what is good about conflicts, that makes a big difference on how we manage conflicts. If one partner is looking at a conflict from a perspective of an opportunity for me to learn about my spouse, an opportunity for me to get stronger in this area together and learn something to build on, opposed to the other idea, or the other spouse might think, or other spouses might think, conflicts, I need to be right because I'm hurt. Therefore, he or she, my spouse, need to fix themselves because I'm hurt, because I'm right. And that's where things go wrong. It's not about you. It's not about your spouse. It's about the relationship. So when people get defensive, it's just as bad as being attacking or criticizing. You guys are thinking of new things? No? Okay, I'll continue. Yeah. Oh, very good question. If you're not criticizing them and they are taking it as a criticism, what makes you think that they're taking it as a criticism? Getting angry, does that mean that they feel criticized? They shouldn't be?
Criticizing me, they mentioned that it actually.
Okay, so if somebody feels criticized, doesn't mean that we made them feel criticized. It doesn't mean that we criticized. So dismissing their emotion about being criticized, like, well, I'm not criticizing you, why are you feeling that way? Stop feeling that way. You shouldn't feel that way. These are the things that also impact the relationship. Telling the other person how to feel and what they should feel and what they shouldn't do. This is not going to help the relationship. If your spouse or your father, your sibling, your friend feels criticized, we need to acknowledge that they felt that way. But it doesn't mean that I made them feel that way. No one, and I mean absolutely no one, can make us feel one way or another. And I challenge anybody to prove me wrong. So if you guys disagree with me on YouTube or watching this video, please share your comments, and if you feel disagree about this, I'm more than happy to respond and address this statement even further, because no one can make us feel one way or another. No one can make us angry. No one. Even if they slapped us in the face, they cannot make us angry. Even if they cursed us and called us names or being disrespectful, or they cannot make us feel outward. So therefore, if they felt criticized, we need to acknowledge that emotion, even though you were not. If you really care about that relationship. But if you don't care about the relationship, well, sorry you feel that way, and you walk away. You sympathize instead of you empathize. Empathy is you really need to acknowledge that emotion. Sympathy is like, well, sorry. Sorry you feel that way. And you heard me, didn't you? That's it. I'm done. I'm done talking, and you walk away. So you don't care to invest a lot in the relationship. But if that relationship is important to you, you need to acknowledge that emotion. You need to nurture the relationship. So your part in nurturing in that incident, the relationship is crucial, because the other person is feeling, not thinking. So you nurture, as opposed to justify or telling the other person how to feel. Or maybe say, oh, I wasn't criticizing, but it came across as criticizing. And I usually use this example. If you go to a baby, let's say that you're married and you have a child and your spouse is in a different room, and you look at the baby's happy lying down, and you just come to the baby and like, I love you. What's going to happen to the baby? They're going to cry. And then your spouse is in another room. What did you do to the baby? Nothing. I just said I love you. But how did the baby hear it? How did it impact the baby? That's what's important. But you were saying it as of excitement or maybe playing. Oh, I didn't do anything. I was just playing with the baby. He was starting to cry. How did it impact the baby? That's what's important. So when you look at another person, it's no different than the baby. I'm not belittling the other person, but how they see it is different than what we intend. If they saw it a certain way, we need to acknowledge that. We don't have to agree to it. And we don't have to tell them that I don't agree. It's like, I don't agree. You shouldn't feel. No, we just need to acknowledge it. Acknowledging it doesn't mean that you agree to it. Does that make sense? All right. Does that answer your question? All right, good. All right, so, we have one viewer. Yeah, welcome aboard. So with that in mind, it takes two to build a healthy relationship. So if we do something, the other person gives us feedback, oh, what you said made me feel this, or you're criticized, stop criticizing, and us defending ourselves, being defensive. I'm not criticizing, that's defensiveness. Because he criticized you for being criticizing, right? So it attacks. So, you stop criticizing, don't do like that. But what do? You feel attacked, so you get defensive. The conversation is not going anywhere. It's just down spiral, totally negative. Nothing to nurture. So instead, we need to stay focused on the relationship, not the person, not what the person says, not what I feel or what I say, or the person feels. So we need to stay connected and acknowledging the other person's experience in the relationship. So when the person is attacking and I'm being defensive, and that goes along for back and forth, then what happens? I'm going to want to protect myself. You're criticizing. When I'm being defensive, the criticizing person, what is it? How do they feel? not heard. So each one of us will start to protect ourselves from being not heard, from the criticizing person. And me as a defensive, I'm defending because I don't feel good about what I'm hearing. So therefore I'm defending myself by being defensive, and therefore I'm going to put a wall. And the person, I'm going to break that relationship to protect myself. And the other person is very likely to build a wall. Why? To protect themselves. And what happens usually when somebody builds a wall, the other is like, oh, you're giving me the silent treatment? Fine, I'll give you the silent treatment. And they build a wall, just as a reaction to the first wall. The problem with the wall, I mean, the good thing about the wall, yes, it gives you, safety, quote unquote, from the other person by cutting off. Now, the problem with the wall is that it prevents you also from seeking help. Because the more you build walls with people, the more difficult it becomes for you to reach out for help. So when we protect ourselves in a fortress, our inability to get out is impacting our safety inside the fortress. You know what I'm saying? Any questions on that? He is accusing me of being rude, we acknowledge it. If they are being rude, we need to tell them how it feels of what they're saying. By informing them how it feels when they are saying this. It really hurts to hear these words from you. And we will address on how to manage all these circumstances that we just talked about. The how to address it, how to fix it, how to keep it nurtured, the connection or the relationship. All of the hows we will cover. But for now, I just wanted to talk about the challenges the relationship that can or may have. Therefore, when we address it, now when we understand it, and when we go on the how, we will know what we're talking about. Okay, so what happens when there are walls? Relationship dead, or at least it's severely ill, severely unhealthy, because one person is not able to, at least one person is not able to make it a safe connection. At least one person. And if it's on and on and on and on, you would expect this wall to come up. It's just a matter of time. And this wall is going to impact the relationship, and therefore if it's a marriage, it's going to break up. If it's a family, the person will run away. If it's if it's friends, they will ghost you. It's just as simple as that. It's not about what you did is wrong, it's how it was received was not accepted. So therefore, a relationship is not like we always need to expect the other person, what they do and what they should do and what they shouldn't do. So it's about us to be mindful that what I'm saying and what I'm doing, how does that impact the other person? That's courtesy, right? That's, like for example, if I were to take the example of a traffic, have a traffic week this week. We're talking about psychology, how psychology can help you in traffic. If somebody is driving, you're driving and somebody just cuts you off. The person cuts you off, or cuts the other person off. They say cuts me off, and I get angry. So I start honking. Now this person who cut me off, he slams on the brakes. This is very common, by the way. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I've heard a lot of stories. Slams on the brakes. So this is going to be angry. It's going to be outrageously angry. And he's going to go and going to start to cut. And we see this, road rage. Unbelievable. And I like about a year or 2 years ago, I heard because of some road rage, somebody was killed. Someone ran the other person by their car. So all of this, that's a relationship. It was a relationship in the making. It could have been a good relationship, but it ended lethal. It cost the other person's life. And the first person, or the person who ran the other person, is in jail, as I was told. But this, traffic incident, it's no different than, as a metaphor, it's no different than any relationship that we can talk about. If these two cars, and this car is mindful that this person is going to be upset if I did that, they wouldn't have done that. But like I heard before, they took it for granted that they can get away with it. Why? Because they did it with other cars and nobody did anything. And I'm not saying you guys need to react to that. Do not react to that. You really need to calm yourself. And that's where you learn from psychology, is how to deal with these upsetting situations in the road, because you're already stressed. When somebody does that, it's either going to trigger you, or you're just going to be a mature person and you're just going to allow it. And you're not going to teach the other person by going around and cutting them off. You're going to put yourself in danger. So do not do that. But it's really important to for the first person to be mindful their action and what they say also is going to impact the other cars or other people around them in your relationship. Okay, so it starts with us. Any relationship problem starts within us. Were we mindful? Did we do what we are, what we fairly accept to ourselves and what we liked for other people? So we liked for other people what we like for ourselves. If you don't like it to be attacked, then don't attack another person. If you don't like it to be criticized, then don't criticize another person. If you don't like to be bullied, do not bully another person. But if you bully another person, you're really saying it's okay for people to bully me. If you cut off another person, you're saying really it's okay for people to cut me off. Because that's what mindfulness is all about. Courtesy, empathy, whatever you want to call it, considering the other person is different than you. So I would like to stop here and see if there are any questions about what we talked about. Any questions? Any comments? Is that clear? Was it that clear? Okay, so for those who are watching online, you watch this at a later time, please feel free to put your comments or questions. I'm more than happy to address it. And until the next talk, should we end it here? There are a lot more. That's why I don't want to start new, because it's a lot more to cover for the causes. We're not even, I don't think we covered half. I think we covered like maybe 20%, if I were to be 1/5 about. So there's a lot more to talk about in the future talks. We're going to continue the same topic coming up in the next week talk. And until then, I wish you all safe relationships, prosperity, and flourishment in your current and future and new relationships. And until we talk again, stay